Welcome to The Explainer. This is where we love to dig into big ideas and classic stories to see what makes them tick. And today, we've got a great one for you, a classic fable that really gets to the heart of might versus mind.
So, does strength always win? It's a question we've seen in stories forever, right? Well, there's this fantastic fable from the Blue Land Jungle that has a pretty interesting take on it, and it all kicks off with a classic imbalance of power.
So picture this, the Blue Land Jungle. There's this one guy who runs the whole show. And he's not the leader because he's smart or wise. Nope, he's in charge simply because he's the biggest. We're talking about Ramu the elephant. And let me tell you, his whole kingdom is built on fear.
So you've got this stark contrast, right? On one side, there's Ramu, huge, super powerful, and just completely selfish. And then on the other side, well, that's everybody else. The small animals, the weak ones, the ones who are just trying to get by but are constantly living in fear of him. It is a textbook bully situation, plain and simple.
And look, Ramu's cruelty isn't some vague thing. It's personal. It's petty. He sees a tiny ant struggling to carry this single grain of food. This one little grain is probably food for days for her. And what does he do? He just eats it. Just like that. And then he stumbles upon a sparrow who's just put the finishing touches on her brand new nest, and boom, one single thoughtless move and he tears it all down.
And his reason for doing it? You're not going to believe this. When the poor sparrow is begging him to stop, this is his excuse. My trunk is itchy. Seriously, just think about that for a second. His own minor itch is to him more important than her entire home. If that one line doesn't scream zero empathy, I don't know what does. Okay, so later that evening, you can just imagine the scene. All the animals are gathered, they're sharing their stories about Ramu, feeling totally beaten down and helpless. But then, something changes. A tiny little voice speaks up, and it's the same ant whose food he stole. And she has decided that enough is enough.
And right here, this is the turning point of the whole story. The ant is listening to the sparrow talk about what happened, and she hears that excuse, that line about the pain in his trunk. And suddenly, it's like a light bulb goes off. She has this moment of pure genius. She realizes Ramu just handed her the perfect weapon, his own words.
So what's she do? She goes right up to Ramu. But she doesn't challenge him to a fight, obviously. No, she does something way smarter. She acts like a kind of fortune teller, delivering a prophecy. She's not saying, I'm going to hurt you. She's saying this is what will happen to you. It's an absolutely masterful psychological play.
And you have to appreciate this. This wasn't just some impulsive act of revenge. It was a full-blown, well-thought-out plan. Her strategy is just so brilliant because it's so simple. Step 1, confront the bully. Step 2, give him a specific deadline. And then, the best part, she uses what everyone thinks is her biggest weakness, her tiny size, and turns it into her ultimate weapon. She literally slips past all his defenses while he's sleeping. And Ramu's reaction? Of course, he just laughs. What's a tiny little ant gonna do to him, right? So he goes to sleep, feeling all high and mighty, with absolutely no idea that the thing that's about to bring him down is already inside his trunk, just waiting for sunrise.
So the next morning comes. Ramu wakes up feeling on top of the world. He looks around, doesn't see anyone, and just figures, yep, they're all hiding from me just like they should be. And it's right there, at the absolute peak of his arrogance, that the ant makes her move.
And then it happens. The ant starts biting. The prophecy is coming true. And this isn't just any pain. It's sudden, it's intense, and worst of all for him, it's coming from inside his own trunk. And through all that agony, one thing finally clicks in his brain, the tiny ant's warning.
He's in a total panic. He's desperate. And he realizes there's only one possible way to make this pain stop. He has to do what she said. He has to undo the wrong he did.
And you can see his transformation happen in real time here. It's all driven by that pain, by the consequences. He's frantically running around, grabbing twigs, finding soft grass, and he's so carefully rebuilding that sparrow's home. And get this, the very second he puts that finished nest back on the branch, the ant stops biting. The pain is just gone, instantly.
Now, this part is so important. He doesn't just fix the nest and stomp off. No, he actually turns to the sparrow and apologizes. He admits he was wrong. This is literally the first time we see Ramu do something not for himself, but because he genuinely wants to make things right. And that one act, that apology, it leads us right to the real moral of the story. Because the change we see in Ramu, it's not just temporary.
So the next day, the other animals see him, and he says something truly incredible. He's realized it's not just about avoiding pain. He's figured out that doing good things, being kind, it actually brings this amazing sense of peace. That's it. His transformation is 100% complete.
So, when you boil it all down, what are the big takeaways from this little fable? Well, there's a bunch. The ant proves that real power isn't about your size, it's about your brain and your courage. Ramu's whole ordeal is a giant lesson in cause and effect. Every action has a consequence. And his turnaround? It shows us that even the biggest bully can change, and that kindness isn't weak. It's actually a source of real inner peace and strength.
And the ending is just perfect. While all the other animals are celebrating Ramu's new attitude, they all kind of look over at the clever ant. And what does she do? She just gives them this little knowing wink. There's no big speech, no I told you so. It's just this quiet, shared understanding that this one tiny creature with a really smart plan managed to change their entire world.
And that's really what this story leaves us with, isn't it? It makes you step back and ask, what is real strength? Is it in the body or is it in the mind? Is the biggest force for change the one that roars the loudest or the one that thinks things through?